Well, welcome to another interview held by EFSAS. This time we have as our guest Madam Sanna Ejaz. She's a well-known journalist and human rights activist from Pakistan, from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. She's also a leading member of the PTM, the Pashtun Tahafuz Movement, the Pashtun Protection Movement, and also the founding member of the Waak Movement, which is a movement which focuses on advocacy to promote women's role in peace building, reconciliation, and social activism. But also, you know, uses the platform to engage women in their political and economic rights. She has also been the vice president of the youth wing of the Awami National Party. And she has worked as an anchor and a host at the state-owned PTV television in Pakistan. She was fired from a job in 2018 because of her political activism. Has been arrested multiple times, and at some point of time, she had to flee Pakistan because of threats to her life. She has survived 3 attacks on her and is currently living in London because she left Pakistan some time ago. Madam Sanna Ejaz, welcome to this interview.
Thank you so much, Junaid. Thank you so very much for having me.
And as we discussed, this is going to be a little bit of a free flowing, so we'll see where the discussion takes us. But first of all, before we start on the contemporary issues or historical issues, just a little bit about yourself, whatever you, of course, want to tell. You're currently in London, and how do you look at things? What do you do?
Okay, thank you so much, Junaid. So whatever I have done, you already discussed that, but let me tell you that I have started my journey as a political and socio-political activist and journalist since 2007. And then I worked with multiple organizations. I can divide my work in 3 things, like it was political activism, social activism, and as a journalist, and then as a professional working person. So as a my professional background starts from Pacha Khan Trust Education Foundation. I worked with them for more than 5 years, and then I left. That's the only job that I left with myself. Apart from that, before PTM, even I was removed and fired from my job for my socio-political activism, mostly for my political activism. Then I joined after BKTF. I joined Radio Pakhtunkhwa, and then journalism department, Peshawar University of Peshawar. From there, I have been removed from my political activism in APS, Army Public School attack during that time in 2014 and 15. I worked with PTV, Peshawar Television Network, as an anchor, and then I worked with the Shirkatga, a Women Resource Center, since 2016. And then in 2019, I've been removed from my job because they were threatened by the military establishment, and the organization itself worked for women rights from 1975, and it's one of the biggest non-governmental organization in Pakistan who are working for feminist agendas and for working for women rights and human rights in Pakistan. But unfortunately, they were threatened, and they made the whole environment so hostile that in 2019, January and February, they asked me to resign or take a demotion. And then I've been removed from my job there. And then for survival, I did different work with different organizations. And all my life, since 2007, I worked with different organization media outlet as an occasional writer, or as a writer, or as a feature writer. There were different organizations from Newslands to Hum Sab, Naya Daur, and Pashto magazine, some Pashto magazines like Pashtun, the magazine which was started by Pacha Khan in 1928. April 1928. I also wrote for them, and I'm continuously writing for some of them. Truth Tracker magazine, and there are some other online blogs. I have been writing for BBC Pashto. So it was just occasional contribution with the international or media outlets. Yes. So
What?
this is my background. Apart from that, I did some social activism. I have started my own study circle. Its name was Friday Circle. Oh, it was. It is now was, because I'm not doing it right now, and I was working on one of the Pashtun students education campaign. It was a scholarship campaign which was started by me and some of my friends. So we work in multiple, phases for girls' education, for peace, for writings, for political activism, for progressive narratives and things like that. Yes.
No, I as a host, I as a host will of course ask you different questions. If there is anything you feel you can't reply to because of security reasons, I know you have family living there. You just be so frank to let me know. I'm just going to ask a few questions. One is, you're saying that there has been one job which you left yourself, and all
Mhm.
other jobs you were actually either fired or pressurized into leaving. Um, what have you exactly done that you had to leave so many jobs? What is it that you couldn't continue at various places?
In a very simple phrase, if I conclude the whole thing, I just call a spade a spade.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. In my first job was I was removed from my first job. It was not my first job, but for the very first time when I was removed from my political activism, it was due to my activism in the APS attack, and when I was working with the parents and trying to tell them to go out and protest. It was the time. It was a very hard time for us. For all the people, for all the human rights activists, for all the Pashtuns living in Peshawar, who saw this horrible attack, who saw the families of who were the victims of this attack. So I was very active, and let me tell you frankly, Junaid, at that time I didn't even knew that whenever I was going to office at that time, and those people used to come and take us for interrogation and used to kept us in dark rooms and ask different stupid questions. It it I just recently in the 5 6 years I just know that it's called detention. So I was the victim of those things in previously in the past so many years, 14 15 years. I saw so many worse things, like harassment during my activism. They used to ask, why are you even they were interfering in our family matters. They entered to your family, they entered to your offices, they entered to everything. They try to Photoshop your photos, they try to harass you, they try to record your telephones. So all these things they did
They
to me.
you mean, by they you mean the state?
The state agencies, the spying agencies, ISPR, and most of the time ISI and the military intelligence, they were doing this. They are doing this right now. So these were the things I faced at that time, and I've been removed from my first job in Peshawar University. I was for the first time I was arrested in 2014 on 31st of December 2014 when we were protesting in Peshawar and asking for and demanding for a free judicial commission for APS. And at that time, we were at least 100 people. Out of 100 people, 60 people were arrested, and I was the only lady at that time who were arrested.
When you when you
And
say, when you say I call a spade,
yeah,
what is that? What exactly is that spade? So what exactly is it that is so
yeah.
unsettling? What spade is that?
The spade is actually the military establishment, the spying agencies of Pakistan. You know, Junaid, there are countries who are countries, but Pakistan is not a country. It is for the people, it's a federal country, but for us, it's a kind of a prison. The military establishment, the state agencies, they made this country a kind of a prison. In prison, you know, I don't know how to call it, but there's a thanedar or a superintendent in the prison who used to have this the stick, and they try to control the whole prisoners. So in Pakistan, that thanedar or that superintendent or whatever you call it is military establishment. They try to control it. They try to punish everybody. They try to punish all those people who are raising their voice for their basic fundamental rights, for their legal rights. So
And do they
so
punish? Do they punish? Because you, of course, you are a woman. I know the cultural settings in South Asia at large. Um, do they punish women more? Do they think of women as being, more, brazen if they come out on if they come out of their house and talk about political and social rights? Do they see women as different?
yes, they treat women different. They see women different. This is my personal experience, Junaid. They used to harass everybody, all the activists, male and female, and everybody. But they treat us differently. Like, for example, if they want to torture you, they will put the blames of monetary or money corruptions on the male activist. But when they try to stop you, they will do a character assassination of
As
the
a woman,
female activist. They will harass them. They will tape. They will record them. They will send. Frankly, they will send people, or they try to make file of your weaknesses, and they will try to send you some kind of to capture you, to find your weaknesses, to threaten your families, because in South Asia, and specifically in countries like Pakistan, your families are the the main thing you take care of, or you're sometimes you're afraid of, or afraid for them and for their lives, specifically when you're a woman. And they will use the bad things in the culture, like honor killing. They try the same thing with my family, but thanks God my family is so progressive, and they don't take these things, or with due respect, this shit from those people, whatever they were trying to tell them, or whatever they were trying to do with the Photoshop things and everything. But they try to treat women differently. They use the patriarchal system. They use the patriarchy. They use the character assassination thing. They use the all the bad things which is existing in the culture or the society, or things like that. Like once, when we were dealing with one of the incident happened in Waziristan. There was a lady, there was a young guy who made a video, Hayat, his name was Hayat, and he said that we have been facing harassment from the military establishment and the army. They're coming to our house. My father is missing, my brother is missing, but we don't want them to come again to our homes, and they have been harassing our women. So the Hayat mother made a video, and then we went to her home, and then all the things came up to the video, because there was no access to the media to their home. And so I made the video, we recorded the videos, and we sent it to the different media outlets who were giving us time. Junaid, that there's a complete media blackout for us in Pakistan. Only some media outlets, some Pashto parts or sections of international media outlets, they have been recording or giving us some space or some time. So I have recorded some things, and then we send it to the media, and then the then DGISPR Asif Ghafoor said to them, they have done this embedded journalism and took some of the leading journalists to Waziristan, and he at that time he was talking to Hamid Mir and said that, you know, those things, like he said that, oh, it's not a culture of Pashtuns and Waziristan that they talk on media or they talk about harassment. It's not like that. So they are using even the culture against, if you talk a bit against some harassment or things like that which is happening, it's a war crime, for God's sake. And then the DGSPR is saying, oh my God, this is not their culture, this is fake, because this is not culture to talk against harassment. So it's like that. So
So you
they
talk
are
about
just,
your family being, of course, very progressive, and then you talk about culture. It's fortunate that your family is, of course, very progressive and has supported you. But how does your direct environment react to it? So the extended family, friends, and indeed the culture, do they support what you're doing, or do they find this looking for trouble?
yeah, we do face some problems, but let me tell you, most of the time there are myths that uneducated people are not supportive, they don't support women in politics, they don't support education of the girls. But I, in my life, experienced that whenever we used to go for a campaigns in to the different parts of former Fata, Waziristan, or Baja, or Momand, or Khyber, or Pata like Shangla, or Swat, or Dir, or in different parts of the Pashtun belt, which we call Janubi Pakhtunkhwa, like Lorlai or Job, people used to respect us like anything. And for us, they used to have this big respect. But yes, I face these problems from very educated lot, political activists, and sometimes from the leader as well. They used to cut off our speeches. They used to, uh, you know, uh, uh, they used to feel very threatened when when I, as a woman, or some of my other female members, when they used to ask question or raise question on some policy issues, or in the on the activities of the movement or the political party. So yes, we face that. But there are myths that it's due to the lack of education, or this is because of lack of exposure. No, it's not like that. It's very different when you go to the ground, when you do the politics on the ground or activism on the ground. It's totally different. Sometimes the so-called educated people will stop you. The people who sometimes on the dice will talk about the women rights and or about feminism, yeah, in my experience, it's totally different. Yes.
And this week, it has been, of course, 14th of August, 75 years since partition happened of British India. And with that, Pakistan came into being. Or, as people in Pakistan would call it, Independence Day. So now it has been 75 years, 3/4 of a century. So how much has Pakistan been the Pakistan that was imagined by the Pakistanis? Where is it standing today?
It's a very difficult question, and it's a very easy question as well. Look, Junaid, it's been 75 years, but let me tell you, we have faced official coup, proper coup, for 4 times. Once, if by the Iskandar Mirza in 1958, then by Yahya Khan 1969, then by General Ziaul Haq in 1977, and then by Musharraf in 1999. For more than 3 decades, in 75 years, there were complete coup. And now it's in Imran Khan government, it was unofficial coup, but there was a coup. So we faced the martial laws, and in these martial laws, they kept this country like a prison, and now in is unofficial martial law, it still is a prison for the all the oppressed nations. It's for the people of the world, it's a federal country, but who is giving the basic fundamental rights, which are let's not talk about the UDHR or the other human rights conventions, but do you think they are giving these fundamental rights which are mentioned in the constitution of Pakistan to the oppressed nations like Pashtuns and Baloch and the Sindhis and Saraikis? Are they giving those rights to them? No, they're not. Everybody is struggling right now in Pakistan. Everybody is struggling for their rights, for their some are on the verge, and they are struggling for their and doing activism for their uh, freedom, and some of them are just for their basic rights. In PTM, we were just asking for our fundamental rights under the Constitution of Pakistan, and what we faced extrajudicial killing, which was one of the part of our demands, and we faced that. And one of our professor, my best friend, Professor Amandu, he was killed on the road in the broad daylight. Yes. And then we faced those excessive forces. I faced it. I was beaten by the police. I was dragged on the road. I was arrested by people wearing white clothes. Yes, multiple times. I was chased. I faced threats on the phone, everything. So there are other politicians. One of our main leaders, Ali Wazir, is still in the jail. He is elected MNA, member of the National Assembly, and he's still in the jail. For
So,
what?
Sana,
For exercising his freedom of expression. So right now, this is the situation of Pakistan. Everybody is protesting. Baloch are still there for protesting. They are killing them. They're shooting.
why is it that, and that's the whole thing. This is something, of course, there have been books written on it, but Bangladesh and India and Pakistan, it's in essence, it's the same DNA. It's the same people, it's the same culture, it's a little bit of here and there, very similar languages. Why is it that the Bangladeshis or the Indians have moved towards a different trajectory, and you're just talking about Pakistan, martial law? How come it went so different? It went so differently than from the other countries in South Asia. Is it the theory is, one of the theories is that Pakistan inherited a big chunk of the British armed forces and a smaller piece of land. So that's why the armed forces were always in power. What is, according to you, why did it go like this? Why is it like this?
Once I heard of somewhere from one of the oldest political activists. I don't know how much is true, but there's a very elder activist from Junubi Pashtunkhwa, Pashtun belt of Balochistan. He once said that when they were giving us freedom, it means the Britishers, they said kept some part of India and they kept Pakistan for that. And now I think, Junaid, that Pakistan is actually behind, far more behind from India, because it is continuing the colonial legacy left by the Britishers. They are still keeping it. Like, for example, I can give you examples. Like, for example, they kept FCR, the Frontier Crime Regulations, which was imposed by the Britishers when Britishers divided we Pashtun and Afghan in 4 parts. And they kept the British Afghanistan part to the British. They kept the name of British Balochistan, and then they divided the former FATA. And then by the Mortimer, the first thing was happened when the Mortimer Durand this dragged this line of Durand, and then they divided in different parts in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, in Janubi Pashtunkhwa, and then the former FATA, we call it Minzane Pakhtunkhwa, or the Central Pakhtunkhwa. The people who are living in which we call former FATA, or on the line of the borderline. So when they divided all these people and they kept it, so Pakistan kept that legacy. They kept the FCR, they kept everything. They kept oppressing those oppressed nations. They kept away from their basic rights. And what India did, they worked on their democracy. Yes, they obviously they also have some problems. They also are having these religious extremism kind of things, but it's not like Pakistan. This is because the establishment is dealing the things which they have to do. That they are not interfering into the politics. They're not stopping the political parties or the democracy from doing their work, or from progressing, or for like there are very basic things which are related to the human rights and to the democracy. Like they are very inclusive. They are including everybody, from different religions, from different genders. They are even giving space to the transgenders. They are last year they gave their one of their biggest award, Padma Shri, to one of the transgender. So they are acknowledging them. They are acknowledging their people. And let me tell you again that yes, there are problems in India as well, but it's not like Pakistan, because they are giving their time, their space to their democratic forces and democratic institutions,
What's the
and they're not
solution?
doing this.
What's the solution to, because you are part of the PTM, you're also part of a women's movement. You have been part of a political party which has, which has members in the in Pakistan's parliament, and you have worked at a state-owned television as well, so you know the system. So what's the solution to this?
See, we by me I mean all the political parties, all the democratic forces, all the human rights organizations. They have to come in front, and they have to call on all the international organizations working for human rights and working for different democratic forces and democratic organizations and things like that. They have to call them and ask them that why they don't ask Pakistan military establishment to stop their interference into the politics. And I think that the international powers, they are also involved in this. They are also, because look, I will not talk about some rumors or the myths. They are, as you said, it's mentioned in their books, it's mentioned in their interviews. In one of the interviews, Hillary Clinton herself in 2010, uh, mm, uh, she accepted that we created these mujahideen, and we thought it's a great idea to stop the Soviet in Afghanistan, and we used Pakistan, and Pakistan is used by America then, and then and now again. But I think the democratic forces and the human rights organization and the political activists, all the people who are critical thinker, they should ask the international powers that why don't they ask Pakistan about all those $32 billion they give on war on terror? Why don't they do accountability of Pakistan? What have they done? Listen, Junaid, we have lost more than 100,000 people in war on terror alone. And nobody is asking. Still, US left Afghanistan, and still we are facing. It's not about only about Afghanistan that it's, oh my God, it's outside the Durand line. And why I'm asking that? This is because still right now in Bir, in Buner, in Shangla, in sorry, in Hangu, and in different parts of Janubi Pashtunkhwa, and in some parts of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. People are, and former FATA, they are out now. They are protesting for the insurgents now showing up on the roads, and for giving notification to the local business owners and on the people about the women mobility, about the things. And right now there are sit-ins in more than 8 parts of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, former Fata, and Janubi Pashtunkhwa, Pashtun belt of Balochistan. And what is military establishment doing? They are using the excessive force of police. Police is not responsible. They are doing on the orders of military establishment. So a day before yesterday, one of the protests in Harnai in Janubi Pashtunkhwa, they were doing a protest against the Taliban now showing up on the roads. And what police did, what FC did was started fire, and they targeted one of the kid and one of the political activists of Awami National Party. And the same thing happened in Swat. In Swat, the masses are out right now. Let me tell you, they are they're on the daily basis. They are doing protests, but you will not see them on the media. But the West is aware of that. And today I came to know that in Swat, the police booked all the protesters in the FIR for asking them for raising the slogans against the Taliban. And what police wrote in the FIR, they said that they were raising slogans against the state institutions. So now the Pakistan is accepting that Taliban are their state institution. From when? Why the international powers, all the superpowers, whatever they are calling themselves, why they are not asking accountability against the Pakistan? Why they are not starting it? Why they are not asking questions from the Pakistan? So this only solution is that the international powers, all the powers, whatever they are doing, whatever they are making out of their tug of war of power, it's not going to happen. Now is the time, Junaid, that they have to accept each other, because it's not the time, it's not the 80s, it's not the 70s, it's not the 60s where one state or one country used to be the superpower. It's the time when they have to accept each other's whatever all the members who are fighting for their powers. They have to accept each other. Otherwise, countries like Pakistan, Afghanistan, and we will be used, and we will be targeted. There will be genocide of some oppressed nation like us, which is happening from 1947 in the Pakistan of by the state, and before that by the Britishers. So this thing will continue. I think the only solution is. We should ask the question. Political parties should ask the question. The human rights organizations should ask the question. The people who are in exile and can raise the questions, or can, if they can cover these problems and stories, they should work on that. So this is the only solution. Otherwise, it's very hard for us to, to stop all these genocides, all these ethnic cleansing and everything. Yeah.
Sana, coming to a little bit of more, you've touched upon it. You talked about the Taliban, you talked about the US. Coming a bit more to the geopolitical situation in the region. As you said, it has been, it's an open secret, the Mujahideen, and how Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and the Americans played a role in that. And then for 20 years, ostensibly, there was a war on terror in which Pakistan and the US and all the other countries were fighting against the same previously called Mujahideen and now the terrorists. There have been media reports that the relationship between the Taliban and the Pakistani state is not as cozy as it used to be anymore. You coming from the region, what is the situation? Are they still good friends, or is there some trouble?
See, Junaid, when the Pakistan said, or some media is reporting that there is tension going on, there will be some tension, but it doesn't mean that because they have created them. See, and I'm not saying, or I'm not giving some false news or things like that, because it have been accepted by many many of the generals in their books. They do the bad things and then they wrote books and sell it in dollars and things like that, and then accept all the war crimes. But nobody is doing anything against them because they are generals. They are sacred in countries like Pakistan. So I still remember in 2015, I think, Musharraf gave an interview to one of the national TV. I think it was Dunia News. He gave an interview and he said that we started the religious militancy in Pakistan. We have created the Taliban. We have weaponized them. We have sent them to Afghanistan. So they accepted everything that they have done this. And then they, what Pakistan do is they call it bad Taliban and good Taliban. They do this. Talibans are Talibans. Terrorists are terrorists. There is no, and this is what even US is doing. They are calling some faction of Taliban a good, and some of them they're calling it bad. But it's not like that. Every terrorist is terrorist. See, when the when they whatever the thing was, when an incident happened in the US in 9/11, what they did was they went after everybody, the country who was involved or the country who was not involved. They did everything for all the 3,000 people. As a human rights activist, I feel pain for every human being. But we have been killed like anything, and nobody did anything. Like I just told you that in this thing, war on terror, on the record, these are just the things on the record that we have faced. We have our people who were killed are more than 100,000 people, but nobody did anything like that, and they are still supporting those terrorists. And what America said that, oh, we are bringing peace to the Afghanistan, oh, we are working on democracy. What were they doing in those 20 years? How come they were not letting the democratic institution to be stabilized, to have these institutions, to make them power? Why they were giving money to the non-governmental organizations and through different parties? Why were they not strengthening the government of Afghanistan? Why were they selecting and choosing and cherry picking in different organization? Why were they not supporting the government? Because they were not. They bring their wars, they bring their, sorry for the word, with due respect, they bring their shit to Afghanistan, and we are suffering. We are on living on the line. I'm sorry, I as a nationalist don't call it a border, a duran line, but they bring it here, and then and everything is happening. All the problems happening is across the borderline of duran line. So everything is happening now. We are suffering. The whole Pakistan is suffering, and specifically the oppressed nations are suffering because everything is going to their land, their motherland, their places. Their people are suffering, and the Haqqani.
You're talking about the Haqqani. It's very good you mentioned that. You come from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Of course, in the history of the last 40-50 years, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa has been, in essence, the battlefield. Many madrasas were operated in this area. Many people who fled Afghanistan during the Soviet war were actually sent back and trained there. How is the situation now on the ground? Is it the same thing? Has it improved a little bit? Is it better?
No, it's not. Like I said previously, that still the Taliban are showing up in different parts of Pakhtunkhwa and in former Fata, in different parts of Janubi Pashtunkhwa. They are showing up on the road. They are showing up. They are sending messages to the people, to the business owners, to everybody, and specifically to the women, to not to be so mobile without, and they can't walk without a man. In some parts, in the Upper Dir, they send the messages to the local masses that stop your women from moving around. So they are there. See, the solution
is the Haqqani network also in the area? Does it maintain madrasas?
See, Haqqani network, Haqqani madrasa is still there, And let me tell you, since 2014 to 2018 and 19, the Imran Khan government gave them more than 300 million rupees or billion rupees to them. It's on the record. It's there, and even people protested, but Imran Khan defended that and said that he is mainstreaming those students who are learning there. But this is the madrasa, the Haqqaniya madrasa in Akoda Khatak. This is the madrasa where Mullah Umar studied. This is the madrasa where Mullah Mansoor studied. Mullah Mansoor is booked in the killing of Benazir Bhutto, but Imran Khan gave them money.
You're saying quite an interesting thing. You're saying that the not the military establishment and not the so-called deep state, not the intelligence agencies, but the government of the day has officially given funds to these madrasas.
So, do you think that Imran Khan is an independent politician? I'm sorry. I call him just he's a very good philanthropist and a celebrity, but he's not a politician. He have been used by the military establishment. When I said that unofficial coup, it was his time when he was doing whatever he was doing. It was on the orders of a military establishment or the state agencies. That's why what he was doing, and he was continuously funding all those madrasas.
But eventually he had to. Eventually he had to leave his job.
I don't believe that. Sometimes, some of your workers or some of your members, they don't work well, and you're fed up, or you find some alternative lines or alternative people, and then you stop using them. It can be something like that, but I can't accept this thing that he is now for democracy. He's doing that.
Come back as a prime minister. He recently won the what was it, the by-polls or the by-elections in Punjab. Do you see him coming back to power?
I don't think so. Maybe the deal happened or he accept to everything. Then Pakistan establishment or state agency can give him another chance. But yeah, it can happen. They can do anything. Listen, Junaid, the Pakistan's media is censored. It's in the control of those. There are WhatsApp groups where the DGI, ISPR offices, they send them messages, they send them news to be spread. They have their own journalists on their payroll. They have their own politicians on their payroll. They have their own activists on their payroll. They have their students or young lot on their payroll. They have been running these social media pages and social media sites, and there are people on their payroll who are doing this for them, and I don't think so. They can do anything. They can pass the bill in their favor. What they did in APS, they killed kids to have these military courts. In National Action Plan, what they have done? Did they stop the slogans on the roads? It's okay to be written on the road that India ka jo yaar hai gaddar hai. It's okay to write gustakh ki saza sartan se juna. It's okay to to write against the otherization of other religions, or about the blasphemy, or about the hate of other countries, or about the glorification of war. But it's not okay to write about the democracy, to write about the human rights or anything on the roads, or on graffiti or anything. You can't have a peaceful public gathering for your rights, Otherwise, it's mentioned in the Constitution of Pakistan, you can have a peaceful public gathering in Article 16, Article 15, you can have a mobility. But we used to be stopped in different parts of Pakistan. I was multiple times stopped from going to Balochistan, in Pashtun belt of Balochistan. Once in on January 17, I was opening the girls' library in Job. It's a very far-flung area, and mm, they don't have a basic facility for girls to have to go and read. So we, from our one of our movement, Waak, we started a library, and when I was there for opening of that library, and I was arrested there on 17th of January 2021. And I was then dragged to the borderline of the Balochistan, and I was asked not to come here again. And multiple times we were stopped from mobility. And in the Constitution of Pakistan, Article 15 says that you can have a mobility inside your country, or anywhere you want. If you are having a peaceful public gathering, you can have it, but you can't in Constitution of Pakistan. So that's what they are doing. They are stopping people. They are stopping those politicians, those activists. They are targeting those politicians who are doing, like Usman Kakar was targeted in his own house. Benazir was targeted. So that's what they are doing. That's what they are. Bhutto Saab was hanged. Previously, he was working for them. So it's very different thing. Yeah.
Do you actually see through your political activism, mainly which also focuses on women and girls, do you actually see their faith changing? Do you see them uh, becoming more engaged in political life or in conflict resolution? Do you see them growing their economic presence, or is it a very uphill battle?
Are you asking about the women?
Yes, the women and the girls. Do you see, you know, uh, the reason I'm asking is that, one, of course, you have to deal with state machineries, state powers, but you also have to deal with cultural barriers. I know that, there are many women who just culturally believe, or maybe even religiously believe, that they should not engage in politics or not even work. So is it changing the mindset of the female population in that area?
I think due to PTM and due to work, we have, I saw changes. Yes, it's there. But at the same time, we are facing challenges. These challenges are not because people are very patriarchal or things like that. This is because state made this setup, this environment. Let me tell you, I will give you some examples in the curricula of our country. They are very rigid about the women rights. They will not show women from, apart from having a overcoat of a doctor, or being a nurse, or a teacher. They will not talk about other professions about the women. They will show women in words, in text, in photos, as a person who is good if she lives inside the four walls of the home. Like, I will give you one of the example. Look, Pashto folklore is very rich. Literature is very rich. But why they selected one of those stories which has the ending of honor killing, which is the story of it's a folklore story about honor killing, and it's Sher Alam and Memune stories. We have so many beautiful stories, romantic stories in Pashto folklore. Why they choose the one which has ending of honor killing for the class 7 student? Why they chose this chapter in the Urdu subject government school books? The chapter is Nadia Ka Ghar, Nadia's home, and in Nadia's home chapter, they are talking about the 5 years old kid, and they are showing her brother in the pictures playing with the bicycle, going outside, and showing her inside the home having a broom. Look, I'm not kind of a radical feminist who said that, oh, household work is not good. Household work is good. It's according to Bacha Khan, house belongs to both men and female, and they both should do work together for their home. But why are you showing the 5-year-old kid inside the home working with, helping with the mother, and not playing? And if you're showing a woman photo in the book, and you're showing just a Friday edition Islamic thing, showing her she can only read the Islamic things and things like that. So why are you restricting the roles, the gender roles in your curricula? That's what they are doing. And in media as well. In media, all those women are vamp, or they are villain, who are asking questions, or who are wearing progressive clothes, or the one who are crying, the one who are accepting domestic abuse, or the one who are accepting all the physical violence and the mental violence, are good girls in the dramas. Why is this so? So that these are the things. And let me tell you, the establishment is using these drama things for Indian favor. For ABS, they have created some songs, and now they are when we have some women in Baloch movements, and we have women in Pashtun movement. Now they are making dramas like Sinfiahan, and showing one girl from Waziristan and one girl from Balochistan, and they are like, fascinating on, and all this mixed bowl identity. Hum sab Pakistani hain, hum sab ek zuban bolte hain. We are not one nation, we are different nation. And Urdu, I'm so sorry, Urdu is not our mother language. We have our own mother languages. For us, Urdu is the language of communicating our messages, or sending our messages to all those others who don't understand our language. So these are the things. And by forcing all the same things, they are not learning from the history, Junaid. By imposing this language in 1952, they lost a big chunk of the country. Now they're doing this again. They're again stopping people from speaking their mother languages. They're again not accepting their mother languages in the schools, in the offices and things like that. They are not giving them the due respect. So these are the things happening, and and due to these, I think yes, there are some patriarchal things going on, but this is because the state is perpetuating it. The state is perpetuating it through media, through curricula and things like that. Otherwise, I found people very progressive sometimes who are living in the mountains, who are not so educated. They are allowing their girls to go out. But yes, after seeing our harassments as a political activist, some of them, they want their women to participate in political activities, but they are afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And one question, of course, for you as a Pashtun, it is something we keep hearing from other communities. For example, minority communities in Pashtun-dominated areas. And just to have your viewpoint on that, they say, well, your struggle, and not your struggle, but your struggle is, it's very Pashtun oriented. You don't take into account the minorities of the region. Like you have the Hazaras, the Tajiks. In Afghanistan you have them much more than you have in this part of the Durand line. How do you react to that criticism?
I don't think so. We are doing this. I as a Pashtun, I as an Afghan in Afghanistan, and I as a Pashtun in Pakistan, I don't think that we are biased against the person or the nation who is oppressed, they can't oppress another oppressed people or minority or any person. They can't do this because we have faced things. We know the pain, so we can't do this. But yes, let me tell you, the state is divided, and still from their lords, the legacy of the colonial thing, they learn this thing, divide and rule. That's what they are still doing. they're targeting the Hazaras. They are putting the blames on the Pashtuns. They are trying to, they have kept. I told you that they have people, everybody, even in us, even in our movement, in Pashtun Tahafuz Movement, they introduced male and female who are working for them, and they made their profile in front of our people that, oh, state is torturing them. Oh, these are your heroes, but they were not. They were actually doing things for the state. So that's what they do. They sometimes they divide on the sects, sometimes they divide on the ethnicity, sometimes. But I, as an Afghan in Afghanistan, I don't call anybody non-Afghan, or by calling them Hazaras or Tajik or Uzbek or Farsi one. But and in Pakistan, it's the same. I can't do that as a Pashtun.
Why is this so? You keep talking about oppressed nations, and I've heard that term being used many times by Sindhis, by Baloch, by Pashtun. Why is there so less of coordination between these oppressed nations?
That's the reason, Junaid. They're not letting us do that. Like, I remember when during the campaigns in PTM, when we used to go to Mama Kadir, the establishment will do anything to stop us from not going there, to speaking to them, or things like that. They as I said, they learn this thing, divide and rule. They don't support us to be there. I think that now is the time that everybody should. This is my belief, and I think this will empower us if all the oppressed come together and work together for their own freedoms, for their own rights, for fundamental rights. Then we can do anything.
When you say working for their own freedom, because I know the Pashtun Tahafuz movement, whatever they are asking, is within the Constitution of Pakistan.
Yes.
And then you have Sindhis and Baloch who are asking things which are outside of the Constitution of Pakistan. So, what do you see as the correct way? Is it working for equal rights, freedoms, liberties within the Constitution of Pakistan, or do you also in some way support the notion of some of these minorities or nations to secede?
See, Junaid, if you put yourself in their shoes, you will understand. If they are asking for their freedom, I support them. If I am asking for my constitutional rights only, I think I'm right. But I'm not the person who can judge anybody that, oh, they are doing it, because everybody.
You're not asking for secession. You're asking for equal rights, equal liberties within the framework of the Constitution of Pakistan.
Till now, yeah. because see, I have the reason.
That's that's a rather legitimate, a legitimate, thing to raise. Instead, I assume, or I presume, that secession is a much more difficult target to attain than asking for constitutional rights.
See, our journey is very long, Junaid. When first we were targeted, it was on 12th of August 1948 in Babara, in Charsada, when all the Khudai Khidmatgars came out to protest against the imprisonment of Bacha Khan. They came out. There were 13 women who were targeted, and there was more than 600 male who were targeted. They were killed. They were more than 272 were thrown to the waters when they were killed. And some of the activist families, they buried their children and their husbands and their brothers in the courtyard of their homes, because at that time the government of Pakistan was asking for the money of the bullets they have put in the chest of all those activists, and at that time they didn't have the money. All the 70 rupees for the injured ones, and the 50 for the lost ones. So they didn't have the money. So more than 600 people were killed in 1948 after just 1 year of creation of Pakistan. So we are facing, if 600 people is a lot people, and they were just armless protesters and who were just peacefully protesting for against the illegal imprisonment of their leader Bacha Khan at that time. So we are struggling hard, but it's been 75 or 74 years if we call from since Babara. Then we face APS, then we faced the Quetta lawyers incident, and these are the big ones. Then we face, there is not a single square or the chalk or in any part of Pakhtunkhwa, former Fata or Junubi Pashtunkhwa, which didn't saw any bomb blast or target killing or extrajudicial killing. We have been facing this. According to my understanding, and whenever I campaigned, I think we have more number of missing person than Baloch people. They are lucky. They have acknowledged it. The world is acknowledged their missing person cases, but we are still struggling. And if you go to any local court or the police station in Pakhtunkhwa, you will find women searching for their brothers, or for their, they don't even have, it's been more than 10 years or 9 years or 8 years, they have been searching for them, and they're still internment centers in different parts of Pakhtunkhwa and Fata, and they're still doing these things. So our struggle is very long, our journey is very long, we have faced a lot, so you can't say anything. But I think this is the time the Pakistan state agency should think that they should better give the due rights of all the oppressed nation to them. We have lands full of resources. They have occupied it. Uh, the places which were not exactly the part of Pakistan and semi or defective parts of Pakistan, they have included that, and they have made cantonment there for following the same legacy of Britishers. They have done this in Swat. They have done all the defective parts, the states. Junaid, Swat have been added to Pakistan in 1969, and before that, you can see their history. They were much progressive people. They were people in 1960. They were having more girls' schools. They have plans, and they were having bylaws for their constructions. Even they were those people. And what Pakistan did to them, they have sent Mullah Sufi Muhammad. And what they did to them right now, nowadays they are again showing their good people there, and now people are protesting and they are booking them in FIRs. That's what they are doing. So we have this thing, and you never know when people or organizations or movements or political parties think on the different line. But I was a part of Awami National Party, and since 2008 till now, they have lost more than 16 or 1700 people, from a local worker to a political leader. Yes.
No, you said very correctly, and this is probably trying to wrap up this interview, which has been very interesting. It has been a roller coaster on your personal journey, but also on the situation of on the ground. You're saying it's a long struggle. This long struggle has brought you to London because you fled Pakistan. So, and I know that nobody, but you especially, nobody wants to leave their own homeland. But now you're in London, and how do you see this struggle culminating from your end? What again?
Are you asking about my struggle or the struggle of our people? Yeah?
Your struggle. So, do you see yourself going back to Pakistan one day? Do you see
yourself? Obviously. Obviously. And see, this step is not because in Pashto we have this proverb that The year of Horus Pedanim. There's a thing, this famous thing. I'm not born on the day of fear.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm translating correctly.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
I as I told you, Junaid, they are treating women differently. I was not afraid that I've been killed because I have faced threats. I narrowly escaped abductions and things like that. I've been beaten up. I have been dragged to on the roads of Islamabad for protesting, and I've been dragged on the roads. I've been detained multiple times. I'm booked in right now. The case which are closed, apart from those cases, I've been booked in more than 12 cases in FIRs for protesting, for campaigning, for organizing public gatherings. I have organized big, big public gatherings in Pakistan as a woman.
Mm.
Previously, you were asking that, how the people are supporting you or not. Yes, they were supporting. That's why I was heading the committee of organizing a big jalsa or public gathering in Pakistan, in Pakhtunkhwa, and different parts of
But
Pakhtunkhwa.
if this was the situation, how do you see yourself going back? I would imagine that if you would go back tomorrow, the same thing would happen again.
Yeah, but see, it's let me tell you, all the politicians did this. Exile is a part of politics, I think, and sometimes we call it that in politics, a two-step back, one step forward, and two-step forward, one step back. It's like it's thing like that. So this is my one or two step back. I'm gaining the strength. I'm having this thing in my mind that I should better restart my studies. And apart from that, I in the past 4 or 5 years, due to PTM and due to my activism, I just went to home for sleep sometimes, and I miss writing and reading. So this time I'm giving my this space for myself. I'm taking this and regaining my strength to go back and start my activism again. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm planning for. And obviously, nobody can stop us. I'm going to my place. Junaid, before 1975, where I'm living, where my home is, it was our place. It was our land, and it is our land now. I know all the all these goons and who are calling themselves the state agencies. They are there, and they are asking for things which are not there. But I think we can do that, and we will do that.
I must tell you,
So
I've never since we have started this, and I think we're now almost for a year we are doing this interviews with different personalities. I've never ever actually had an interview with someone who is as determined as you are in your political beliefs, but also in your struggle, despite the hardships you have faced. Um, and I really hope that, as you say, it's your land, it's your homeland. I really hope that someday the situation improves so much that you can go back and actually live in peace.
uh, if not in peace, I will live there. I will
Well,
try, and at least maybe this is we have having less time, but I think we are responsible for our next generation to give them some space for their basic rights, so that they don't drag us or pull us that, oh, what you did for us.
mm,
We are doing this, and I am very clear in my conscious and my subconscious that whatever I'm doing, I'm satisfied. I am, whatever I have done, I'm satisfied, or we can do it better if they don't drag us like this. I think we can do it, and it's good for Pakistan. My God, they don't get it right now. All these generals who have gained all their money from these 32 billion dollars, and bought all these islands on in Australia, or the food chains, or the whatever, the Papa Pizza or whatever, or whoever is raising their kids outside the Pakistan. The only thing is painful is journalists, activists, and everybody else, and the specifically masses. They are blaming just the politicians. Yes, there are corrupt politicians, but not all of them. Why they are not calling all these corrupt generals? Why are they not bringing them to the courts to face the trials? Why are they not giving a fair trial to all those enforced disappeared people? Why are not we raising these questions? Thank you, Junaid. I am very happy that people like you are doing such things, because you know there's complete blackout of media on people like us, for people like us, for movement like us, of it, whether it's Baloch movement or Sindhi movement or the Pashtun movement. We all of us are facing these problems and these political victimization and the legal and the non-legal persecution. So thank you so much for doing this.
No, thank you. And that's basically the main takeaway. And I would actually, that's the good point to end on, I think, is that you are actually a nationalist, and whatever you are saying is in the interest of the state of Pakistan and not against it.
Yes, obviously. But if they don't correct themselves or not stop doing this or interfere in Afghanistan and doing all these things, and the extrajudicial killing and the enforced disappearance and the gender or sexual violence, or using the laws or the official or unofficial coups, I don't think so this country will survive. Yes. And we don't want that. They should stop this.
That would probably not be good for Pakistan, but also not good for the region.
Yes, obviously.
Sanna Ejaz, thank you very much. And I can't say that we'll do this 75 years later, because probably you and I both will not be there. But maybe we can do this on the next 14th of August, or 70th day, and see where we stand then and whether the situation has improved a bit.
Hopefully, yeah.
Thank you very much. And
thank you so much.
See you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.